Welcome back to the Forensics Unplugged. Honey said untriggered. I'm back on triggers. I'm triggered on triggers. I can't get triggers out of my head because I've got my thing here. I'm now looking for the next step, which is to get all my sprayers sorted out, and I'm looking for like the best sprayer. And I sort of come to the conclusion that there's not that many options really like elite options. I'm looking for elite. I want elite. Now, this thing here, as soon as I saw it, I just thought this looks absolutely incredible, doesn't it? I just love it. And I thought, when I first used it, I thought, yeah, this is good enough. It's got good draw on the trigger. It holds a good amount. You can see through it. The IK, this is the IK Multi TR, sorry, in case you haven't seen the other video. Holds a litre, it's got a lovely scale. It's got a little plastic card there, you can write your thing on. It's got the fluid ounces, all of that. It's got this clip-on plastic over the HDPE, which is a nice quality sign. Now, it's got to be expensive, you don't normally see that. These are about £9. But the more I use this product, I have some problems with it, beyond the fact it looks bloody amazing. It really does. It's really nice. It looks so good, I can almost forgive it for all of the problems. But the problems are, when this thing is filled up and heavy, it puts too much pressure on your hand. And it's just really bugging me. And it's not just like a little mental objection. It's actually, when I use it, it hurts and it puts too much pressure. And because it's got a cone thing that tapers in, your hand slides up like that, and you end up with all the weight of this trigger pinching on you. Like I say, when it's full with 1 litre fluid, it's quite a lot of weight for a tiny soft bit of your hand. Now you look at a bottle like this, these are the ones that come with the built handle products. It doesn't look great, but this, just the ergonomics of this with the trigger, feels amazing in your hand. It's so comfortable in your hand. And that's the trade-off. Is like, I could just go, I think Built Hamber sell these, or you could buy something similar. It doesn't have to be this one. It could be any that's got a grip around it, and then use this Opus sprayer. I think it's an Opus compression sprayer or similar. And that would be good enough. In fact, it would be better than this, and it'd be cheaper. This would cost you like about £2, a pound maybe, of 50p or whatever, whereas this would cost you £9. But I'm not worried about the price. I'm worried about getting the good thing, and this is the little dilemma. So what I almost want is something that looks that good but feels that good, because that feels amazing. Now, we've talked about this thing here, the Kwazar Mercury. This, they've thought about the overhang, and it fits in your hand and it feels reasonably comfortable. But two things with this: that spit back, it's got the double pump, the dual action, so it sprays there and it sprays when you release. The spray on the release is not that great, and it's like a little spit. So if you're using it with something like detail spray, you get a little spit and you lose the control element of it, which is control. That was a word that one of my patrons, Tosh, was using. And he's right, a control element. So this double trigger is good for just hurling out liquid. If you're trying to clean an alloy, bang, 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 and it's hurling out loads. If you're putting a fallout remover down the side of the car, bang, 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 great. But if you're putting a detail spray on and you just want the control, the double trigger is a no-no for me. And this rattling thing, oh Jesus, that's better. And this rattling thing, that drives me absolutely crazy. And so you guys, I'm glad it's not just me, because someone in the comments said that they've put silicone or something around the metal weight in here so that it doesn't make that rattling. And that's the sort of thing I do, because when I'm using that Kwazar, it drives me nuts, the rattling. Don't get me wrong, it's an incredibly high quality product. Like, amazing what they've done. It's such a good quality product, but just the little things annoy me, and that rattling is a showstopper. I'm becoming really fussy, but this is what design is all about, isn't it? This is what life is all about. It's like trying to get it right, you know, and you get it right once. And it's little details that make it right or wrong. So what I'm looking for is a bottle. And there's one other thing. When they have a round base, they don't stack on the shelves so well. So I mentioned that in the other video, that if it's got a square base, you can stack them all up and get loads of them on the shelf. So I could have like, you know, I could have like 20 of these on the shelf, whereas I could only get about 9 of these on the shelf because of the footprint. So it got me thinking, you know, does a square-based bottle exist with the nice dual plastic, and you can put all the scale on it, and you can have, I don't want the card, that's going, you know, it's a little bit too far, but an area where you can put a label, because people do want that. But it has this ergonomics on it, and a trigger with a better thing going on than this, because that hurts your hand. And that's what I'm exploring, and so far I can't find any square bottle that's like this, but like that, if you get what I mean, with all the square things on it. I can't find it. I don't think it exists. I don't think anyone has made it, which is not good. Now, then I went back to saying, right, well, this might be as good as it gets, and just explore using another trigger on this thing. So take out, this is a Canyon trigger. It's not a particularly expensive trigger. It's pretty robust, and it has got a lovely drawer on it, but it just hurts your hand, and that's a showstopper straight away. So another thing, Canyon do another trigger called the CHS 5A, I think, or something like that, which is this trigger here. This trigger has massive throughput. I think it's 2.5 cc. Something like that, I can't remember, but it's basically, most normal triggers are about 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 cc, so that's probably some sort of flow rate, isn't it? Cubic centimeters. This one I think is 2.5 cubic centimeters, so it's like a proper industrial sprayer that kicks out a lot more. Now it's also got a longer shaft, so you can get your hand around it. Let's just tighten this up a bit. It's just a bit bigger and beefier, but if you look here, I'm going to make the scratch record noise. It's got 2 fins, and these fins are very sharp. In fact, they have like where they're injection molded, I think they have like a sharp line of where the plastic is, sort of like the edge of the molding is set, and that's actually really sharp. You actually want to file it down, and when you hold this, and again, when this is full with water, all the weight of this thing is dropping that way, isn't it? All the weight's going down there, so all the weight eventually ends up on this part of your hand, which is the soft part of your hand here. That's where all the weight ends up, and because it's got 2 fins, the pressure is really, really high on your hand. It sounds minor at first. If you do a quick spray of it, you won't even notice it, but if you're using it for like a few minutes, and you grab it again, use it a few minutes, you start getting imprints on your hand. You can see like a little red, hold on a second, you can see like a little red mark there. That's where I've just been spraying it on the wheelie bins outside. And it's a real shame, because this is an amazing trigger. It's so good, it puts out so much chemicals. Look at this. Hold on, I'm running low in the bottle. Just adjust the mist. The misting is amazing. Look at this drawer. Really good. So good. Goes miles. Look at that. Look, it soaks it out. But as I'm standing there doing that, just squirting away, I can already feel my hand starting to hurt from where it's digging in. So I'm gutted. I'm a little bit shocked that you could build a trigger and not notice that problem, because it's just a very simple solution that you put like a rounded thing on it like this, and it feels so good on the hand. Look at that. That feels amazing, and that hurts and dents your hand. So that is probably a showstopper for me. I've fed that back to Canyon. Just sent them a message just to say, you know, you've got great triggers, but They hurt your hand. So I'm looking at some other options now. These are the ones that come. They used to come with these Sonax sprayers that you can't get anymore. These sprayers are superb, and again, look at the ergonomics. Tapered. They've got a bit of texture on them, so they don't slip out your hands when they're all wet. They're a finger width apart, so they fit in that bit of your hand, and you get 3 fingers on them. It's really good. This is a good trigger. I don't like the red on it. Can't do much about that. And this is I think this Opus compressor one as well, or a version of it, pre-compression one, that only gives you mist but feels pretty good. The draw rates on all these are a bit lower than that. And this one over here, this is the king of kicking out liquids at higher volumes. So if you want to cover your wheels, for example, you need lots of liquid and you want it on there quickly, then that would be you'd be at an advantage. But if you're putting detail spray on the side of your panel, you might not need that throughput, so these would be fine. And this is the third one. This is the Vela one. This is Italian. That's German. Where's this one made? Don't know where this one is. Don't know, but it does matter where they're made. It does matter. That's German. That's dunno, and that's Italian. And this is the Vela one, or Vela. And this I think kicks out 1.4 cc, so it's a decent output. This also feels amazing, and look at the ergonomics. Again, they thought about it. It actually fits in your hand, and it feels great. It's got a nice wide trigger, and you can get it's really a 2-finger trigger, but you can get 3 on there. So this is interesting. But look at the sheath on this. That I think is a 410/28. So 28 I think is the width, and then that distance there. If it's 410, it's longer. If it's 400, it's shorter. So this is Maz's sprayer from Garage Therapy. He's seeing if he can get a 400 sheath, a 28 400, because a 28 410 doesn't fit on there. It doesn't pull it down enough, so it leaks. So you need a 428. So you need a 428. Sorry, 28 400. There's a lot of faffing around this. A lot of faffing around. This, I've also gone and ordered the Worth bottles, which are these sprayers with proper bottles. I just ordered one. A bit pointless actually, but I just wanted to see it. Because I've got these triggers, I just wanted to see it, because they're slightly different as well actually. This does fit on here fine, no problem. You could get a longer lead, and that would kind of work as well, but the red trigger, the red trigger bugs me. You can see, it's important to get all the detail right. So I'm kind of toying with the idea. I'm toying with the idea of seeing if I can get something made up that is this shape, with ergonomics like this. I mean, does it really need to have this extra black plastic stuff on it? This is thick, this is hard as well, this is expensive, thick, you know, high density is it polyethylene? Some type of plastic, HDPE, and this is obviously thinner, you know, so this will probably cost a little bit more. This will cost a fortune to have made, all this sort of stuff. It does cost money, all of this, doesn't it? So would it be possible to have something like this with the black plastic stuff clipped over the top and proper scales and stuff like that, but importantly proper ergonomics, mounted up to a trigger, so no tapering like that, no tapering, because that your hand disappears up there. That's you want something like that, because you're never going to drop that. So something like that, with thick plastic and all the scales, all the bells and whistles, and then mated to a sprayer which is better. Unfortunately, what I want is a sprayer that feels as good as any of these three, feels as good as those in the hand, but kicks out the volume of this one, but also looks a bit more like these ones. So like this looks a bit duff to me. This looks a bit like budget. It's like when you watch Star Trek, if you watch the latest version of the Enterprise, it's all nice and ergonomic. This is like the first original Star Trek. So that's where I am on sprayers and triggers, just exploring it a little bit at the moment. Yeah, need to get a move on with it because I'll be here a year at this rate. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.